Alright guys, here we are, so it's the end of week 2. I can officially say the fun and games are over now, meaning that I don't feel as jolly anymore. Even though, again, as we said, I'm not on that low calories, I'm on 2,500. Definitely starting to feel a bit more lethargic, low on energy. I'm not moody yet though, I'm just low on energy, which is fine. Training hasn't been too much harder. I mean, for the amount I was doing from week 1 to week 2 hasn't changed too much. The main thing, again, for week 2, to have a successful week 2, is literally just don't screw up and don't give up. So I'm happy about that. We're getting through it. I'm definitely getting leaner, which is exciting. We're about to go through my photos from the first 2 weeks, so hopefully that will give us some light into how my body's looking and what's changing. And let's get into that now. So we're gonna have a quick look at my 2-week before and after photos to see what's actually happening, and there is a noticeable difference, which is awesome to see. It's really motivating for me as well, because whilst I feel a little bit leaner, it's sometimes hard to get tangible, if you will, feedback to what's actually happening and whether you're on the right track and stuff like that. So it's good. So you can definitely see I'm leaner there. I wouldn't say I look specifically leaner, I just look smaller as a whole, and that would primarily be because I've lost some water, a little bit of muscle glycogen, a little bit of fat obviously as well. And you can also see I'm my chest has sort of been lifted up as well, my legs are a little bit leaner as well. And we'll move on to the next photo. And probably this most noticeable difference, which would be my back. You can sort of see my lats a bit more noticeable now. My rhomboid, like on the mid section of my back, so rotate spinner being a bit more noticeable, which is good. I'm excited to see how lean my back looks at the end of the 8 weeks, because if there's that much of a difference already, I'll be curious what the end result will be, which is good. Also, you can see again, my legs a little bit leaner, my hips more narrower as well, which is a good thing. A few people have commented in person about my hips looking narrow, which is good. From the side is a tricky one. You can't see as much. What you do tend to see is like your shoulder, your deltoid coming out a bit better. You don't really see in this photo as much. I think it's in the other angle a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. So you can just see sort of just there, it's coming through it. You can see the rear delt sort of being a bit more evident, your tricep being a touch bit more evident. Unfortunately, I'm dark in the first photo, but that's fine, that's all right, it's not a big issue. And yeah, it's exciting times. I mean, it's just the beginning, obviously. And you can even see around my neck, a little bit around my face, it's a bit tightened up, it's a bit sharper, which is good to see. I mean, it's, again, as I said to you guys in the other video, visually seeing changes is probably the best motivating factor. So make sure you get the photos in, and I hope my perspective has helped as well. Okay, so now we're going to move on to my actual measurements, and we're starting off with my key measurements. So I've dropped 1 kilo in weight, which is nice, which is good to see. I've dropped 1% body fat. So we calculated this over a few measurements involving my SKINFOLD measurements. So my abdominals, I lost 2 centimeters. My leg there, my thigh, I lost 1 millimeter, sorry. My chest stayed the same, which is a good sign. Basically, if certain body parts stay the same, basically means that they're not losing size, which is good. So I don't want my chest losing size. My triceps stayed the same. My subscapula lost 1 millimeter. My mid-axillary, which is sort of my midsection there, my upper midsection, lost 4 millimeters, which is a good sign, and my suprailiac lost 2 millimeters, which is I think is a fair representation of what's been shown in the photos. Now, what's also interesting is some of the measurements. So, to be honest, I actually prefer looking at tape measurements over calipers, only because caliper measurements can have a high variance depending on the techniques. There's different techniques or formulas, if you will, where different sites are used, and then there's another very variable factor being like how skilled the person taking your caliper is, and then also the actual caliper. So I like tape measures. It's a lot simpler way of measuring, and it sort of gives you good enough information to see what's actually happening. So my chest, I lost 1.5 centimeters there. Now going back to my calipers, even though I didn't lose millimeters in calipers on my chest, I lost size, meaning I've still maintained the muscle tissue, but I just lost overall size, which is good. My waist, I lost just shy of 1.5 centimeters. My hips, lost 1.5 centimeters again. My arms, lost 2 centimeters, which is a bit of a concern. And my legs, I lost 2 centimeters. So it's all going pretty smoothly. Again, at the beginning, you do see a drastic drop in size, and that usually tends to slow down as the weeks go on and your body begins to fight back, which is called metabolic adaptation. All right, guys, so we're going to delve in a little bit into the science about fat loss and what you can and can't manipulate. Okay, so we've got two programs here. We have your calories in and your calories out, which is your metabolism, or your TDE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. How many calories you're burning throughout the day. Now, let's start with your calories in. So, how much food you're eating, sorry. So back to my body. My body technically needs 3,200 calories. We've started my deficit at 2,500 calories. So we're at a 20% deficit, okay? Now what we're going to be doing is manipulating your metabolism to aid your caloric deficit. So, and your metabolism is made up of 4 different factors. Your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, which is basically how many calories your body burns just like existing. So if you just sat there, that's how many calories your body would burn. And that makes up for about 65% of your total calories. Now, whilst that makes up for the bulk of your calories, it's actually not that malleable, so we can't change that too much. What we can change is your exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically planned exercise. Now, your planned exercise should be based on a few different factors, from your age, your training history, meaning what have you done in the past, what type of training have you done in the past, do you have any injuries, and how much you can actually allocate to training per week. That amounts to 15%. And then you have NEAT, which is a non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Again, context is king here. So if you're like a sedentary person, you know, the general statement of get 10,000 steps in a day is perfect for you. That's plenty, it's a good starting point. That may increase as the weeks go on, but we'll get back into that later on. And then you have your thermic effect of food, okay? Which is basically how many calories your body actually burns breaking down the food that you consume. Now, I'm in phase 1 at the moment, so deficit's at 20%, and my eat, I'm doing 5 weight days and 2 cardio days per week, okay? Now, I've come from doing 4 weight days prior to this and doing 1, maybe 2 cardio days if I'm lucky. So now we've increased that to make my total metabolism bigger. Prior to starting this diet, or prior to starting this fat loss series, I was doing roughly 12,000 steps a day. Now I'm going up to 15,000 steps a day. Again, forcing some sort of adaptation for my body to burn more fuel and burn more fat. And then TEF. Now, whilst I'm eating less food, which will technically decrease my TEF, I'm eating more protein now because, again, because I'm in a calorie deficit, we want to ensure that I preserve my muscle throughout the whole 8 weeks.
And we can increase the TF by having a higher protein amount, therefore helping our, increasing our total metabolism, helping our fat loss efforts.
Alright guys, so that was the end of week 2. As you can see, looking at the photos does sort of give you a good feedback because I really didn't know how much was happening, so it sort of gives me a better understanding where I'm at the moment. So next week will be the last week of phase 1. We're going to go over some of the foods I've been eating, how I've managed to achieve a higher protein diet, and what foods in particular I use to make the diet viable for myself. Guys, make sure you keep up with the channel, subscribe to my channel, like the video if you can as well, and I'll see you next week.
Told you we're good exercise. That was perfect. Beautiful, done. Mad.